The campsite we're staying in today has got to be in our top 3, I think. It is so beautiful here. We're camping among these beautiful aspen trees. We're really close to a beautiful lake called Fish Lake, which has a free dump station with water, trash collection. There's a convenience store so we can get anything we need there. It even has gasoline so that we can get gas for our generator if we need. It has been so amazing here. The only issue with it is that I think we're 20 miles from the nearest little town, and they have a grocery store, but it's more like just kind of a glorified Family Dollar, so they don't have a whole lot. So then the next closest town that has a big store like a Walmart is over 40 miles away. So we are pretty far away from most other things, but to be completely honest, I think we like it that way.
So the reason we chose this campsite to camp in is because it is sort of close to Capitol Reef National Park. It's really the best free campsite that we could find that was really anywhere near Capitol Reef. It is about 40 miles away, so it's about an hour drive, and we would love to take our sweetie girl with us, or maybe even Alice, but unfortunately, even though they are both park rangers, this is Sweetie's leash and this is Alice's harness. They're both park rangers, so they can go on some or into some national parks. Unfortunately, Capitol Reef doesn't have any pet-friendly hikes that they allow pets on, so there's no park ranger program at Capitol Reef. So Sweetie's got to stay home, but that's why I was playing with her a whole bunch with that stick, is because, you know, if we have to leave her behind, she's going to be, you know, bored all day, and, you know, we feel somewhat bad about that. So we make sure to play with her a whole bunch before we leave so that she gets all worn out and tired like she is now. She really just kind of wants to go to sleep now. She's all tuckered out. So she gets to have her fun at least before we leave. Right, pup? And then we'll be back. And we are staying in a national forest though, so we're gonna take her, or maybe Alice, on a hike with us here, because national forest, you can take pets anywhere. Right, girl? Yeah, you are tired. Is it sleep time? It's sleep time. And another great thing about this campsite, and another big reason that we chose to stay here, is that it's really high in elevation. It's about 9,000 feet. And what that means is, despite the fact that it is late June right now, the temperatures here are still nice and cool. The high today is only 65 degrees, so that means it's gonna stay nice and cool in our trailer while we're gone. Right, Allie? So we're here at the Capitol Reef Visitor Center and we spoke with a volunteer about just kind of like the things that we can do here. And we already knew we wanted to do a specific hike, but here, check out the map and I'll show you what we're doing today. So we drove in from the west to the Visitor Center, and the first thing we're gonna do is go on this scenic drive all the way down here. And then we're gonna come back up and park here, hike to Cassidy Arch, and then we're going to drive back to here so that we can check out Capitol Dome, and then drive back the way we came in to Panorama Point, and then head home. And that should be a full day. We decided to start with the scenic drive because it's a little warm here. We're about 4,000 feet in elevation lower than we were at our campsite, so the sun is a little hot. The 10-mile long scenic drive is a great little thing that you can do to get a good taste of Capitol Reef if you either don't want to hike or can't hike. And we've reached the end of that scenic drive. It's paved the whole way, but now behind us, the road continues for another 3 miles or so into what's called Capitol Gorge. And up until the 60s, this road behind us was the only way to get from one side of Capitol Reef to the other. But in the 1960s, they completed Highway 24, which bypasses Capitol Gorge. This treacherous sort of drive, especially when it's raining, flash flooding gets pretty intense through here. So this canyon and these massive walls behind me are actually called the Water Pocket Fold, and it continues from this point on for 100 miles. And back in the day, this is what made Capitol Reef so treacherous and nearly impossible to traverse. Reef, in the name Capitol Reef, is a nautical term for an impassable barrier, and that is where Capitol Reef got the reef part of its name. Just imagine yourself back in the 1800s trying to pass from one side to the other, and you've got a horse and a wagon. Pretty intense, right? And the adventurous part of me wants to go in there so bad and check it out, but we've got other things we want to do today. Maybe next time.
We've stopped here at this very interesting landmark on our way to Cassidy Arch, and this is an old uranium mine. Now, there was just this super thin band of this yellow-gray sandstone that they mined in that had uranium-rich rock in it, I guess. And back in the early 1900s, they thought that it had medicinal purposes, and so that's why they were mining it up until, I believe, the Cold War. But now they're all blocked off for our safety. There's a sign in there that even says exposure of no more than 1 day is allowed right here. That's super interesting. Local bats in the area have made these old mines home, so they have these gates over them so that the bats can fly out and back in as needed. That is really, really cool to me, and being able to look in there but not go in and explore, it just really makes me want to go and find a cave to go and explore. Except one that doesn't have radiation in it. You guys may think that I'm wearing this headband thingy a little weird, and I am. The reason being is because there are these little black flies that keep flying in my ears and biting David's scalp and everything, so I'm covering my head and my ears the best I can because the flies are a little annoying as one lands on my face. But so far, the hike to Cassidy Arch has been really nice. The first 0.3 miles is a nice leisurely stroll through a little bit of Grand Wash, which continues on, I think, for about 2 miles and meets up with Highway 24, and just from here, that looks amazing. That looks like it would be really, really beautiful. I know that there's a part of the Grand Wash called the Narrows where you just have high walls shooting straight up on both sides of you, and that just seems spectacular. And unfortunately, we don't have enough time to go and do that hike too, but if you guys ever come here, and if we ever come back, we're definitely going to be doing that. But it's time to continue on to go and see Cassidy Arch. Unfortunately, we have 1.5 miles left and 950 feet to climb. It's gonna be non-stop, straight up to Cassidy Arch. It is gonna be one heck of a hike. We started off with a nice leisurely drive to see the views, and now here we go with a moderate hike. I think it's only considered moderate, but to me it'd probably be pretty strenuous. So let's get to it. So behind me is Cassidy Arch. Now it gets its name from a very interesting story. Supposedly Butch Cassidy had a hideout out here somewhere. They've never ever found it, but because of that legend, they named this arch after him, so this is Cassidy Arch, named after Butch Cassidy. I think that's pretty interesting. This hike has been a lot harder than I expected. I feel like online they misled it to not seem so difficult, but it was really hard for me. It wasn't super difficult for David, and if you're not an avid hiker, give yourself plenty of time to take lots of breaks, because it ended up taking us 3 hours to hike 1.5 miles up here, mostly because I had to take a lot of breaks. And obviously bring a lot of water because you are hiking in the desert. But yeah, this has been a very fulfilling hike. I've been happy now that I'm here. The hike itself was a little frustrating at first, but you know, that's how it goes when you have to hike straight uphill right when you get here. But yeah, it's been really great. I have definitely been blown away by this arch. It is way bigger than we expected. It is one of the few arches here at Capitol Reef that you can actually walk on top of. It's pretty cool. So that tiny little archway up there, that is Cassidy Arch. There's a viewpoint right here. We could have just seen the arch from here. However, I'm actually glad that we hiked up to it, even though my toes hurt and I'm tired and I'm hot and I'm ready to go home, because we got to walk on top of it and we got to look down in it, and it was just so cool. The viewpoint from this distance does not do the arch justice. It looks tiny from here, but up close, it is huge.
So behind me is Capitol Dome, and this is where the Capitol part of Capitol Reef gets its name, because early explorers to this area thought that this rock formation looked like...
You can't see anymore.
You can't see it?
Nope.
Okay, well Jenny's telling me that you can't see it because it's probably completely washed out, because we're in a canyon and the sun is setting, so I'm dark and it's way too bright. So now you can see it, but you can't see me, but who cares about me? Anyway, so this looks like the Capitol building to early explorers. So, you know, they thought, hey, Capitol Reef then. So Capitol comes from the Capitol Dome, and Reef comes from this area just being an impassable barrier for those that came here with horse and wagons. And this behind me is Panoramic Point, and it is our last stop here at Capitol Reef. The national park touts this spot as an excellent spot for night sky photography because the sky is wide open here. Typically in Capitol Reef, you know, you're down in the canyon, so you don't have this big sky. And Capitol Reef is actually an incredibly dark place at night because it's so remote and there are no big cities nearby. I can only imagine how gorgeous the night sky is here and how clear the Milky Way is. But like I said, this is our last stop in Capitol Reef. We've had an awesome time at this national park, and we already have some things on a list for the next time that we come back. Oh, and I forgot to say, when we were driving from Cassidy Arch to Capitol Dome, we actually saw a buck, and it was beautiful. It was magnificent. It's the first one that Jenny and I have ever seen alive that had such serious rack antlerage going on. I don't know, it was really cool. And we also saw a marmot, but it was just there and gone so fast that we had no time to pull the camera out. And I don't know why Jenny and I have such an affinity for marmots, but they're adorable. These like chubby little mammals. I don't know, they're cute. And the name Marmot, that's awesome.
What are you doing? What are you doing? Go give it to Daddy.
Is that for me? Did you bring that for me? Oh yeah? Yeah, you wanna play? You give me that. You give me that. Go get it! We'll give it to Mommy.
Is that for me? Oh, thank you. Thank you. Get it. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. All right, go give it to Daddy. Go on, go give it to Daddy.
Well, thank you, puppy. All right. Go get it.
Butter's right here. There you go. Come on.
Well, bunnies. Bunnies. Oh, hi, bunnies. You hungry too?
Hello.
Yeah, you're hungry also, right?
Of course they are. Cutie pie.
First thing we do when we get home from any sort of adventure is, we take care of the animals because they've been waiting for us. They're hungry. So of course, we take care of them first. The rabbits even are clamoring for their hay when we get home. We feed them twice a day, once in the morning and once at night. They get a whole bunch of hay so that they can have as much as they want, as much hay as they want, and they love it. It's so cute. They're waiting for us. They hop out of their cage and they're like, give me hay. And Jenny usually takes care of the animals, but the one thing that I do all the time is I give the rabbits hay because unfortunately Jenny is allergic to hay, and we didn't find that out until after we hit the road because she just started getting so stuffed up. We're in this small space and we have these hay fibers in the air, and we're like, okay, I'll deal with the hay, I'll touch it, and it's really helped Jenny. But now that all the animals are taken care of, it's our turn. I'm hungry, Jenny. I'm hungry. Feed me.
Well, you get leftovers.
Deal.
All right, David, for you, whoops. For you, you get leftover udon.
Yeah.
And I get leftover mac and cheese. Well, so a lot of you may be wondering, Jenny, why don't you get the udon? Especially because until right this very second, I'm going to tell you it's actually my leftover udon. The reason that it isn't all eaten, because normally it is because I started not feel good halfway through eating. I haven't been feeling well the last week or so. So I'm going to have something a little more mild like mac and cheese, and I'm going to let David have my leftover udon instead.
Yay. Shrimp udon.
It is shrimp udon.
I'm okay with that. Come on, sweetie.